How y'all doing today? Man, I got a good one. Man, I just recently seen the movie, The Jacksons. I mean, that nephew played his role. He played a good one. I applaud him for everything he did in that movie. Like, yeah, it was a little, yeah. It's hard to play Mike, but boy, they picked the right person. They picked the right person. Kudos to the person that found it, a family member. Put it like that, a family member. But the bad part, Joe Jackson. Mr. Joe Leon Jackson was the villain. First of all, we never hear nothing from the brothers. The brothers never had a voice. And I wonder why. But at the same time, people, Joe Jackson done a magnificent job. Now let's get one thing straight. I'm not saying at any point of this segment that Joe Jackson was a saint. Of course he wasn't. He was no saint. But you tell me, a family in 2026, a 10, that the mama and daddy are still together. All the kids are by this one man. Let's get that clear. All of the Jackson kids is by Catherine and Joe. Let's get that straight. And they all stayed under the same roof throughout Michael's career. I'm fortunate enough to be of age. I was on that Michael Jackson train. Of course, everybody wanted the clothes, the penny loafers, the beaded jacket. I got a whole story myself about Michael Jackson, but it ain't about me. It's about Mr. Joe. You tell me where you have a family of 10 right now, and I'm waiting. And if anybody can chime in with me, please let me know. A family of 10 where all the kids belong to this mama and this daddy. Not only that, all of them is successful. Reby, Latoya, Janet, all of them felt the fame. And we're not going to even talk about the Jackson 5. That's 8 kids, plus 2 parents. I was fortunate enough to be able to go down to Gary, Indiana twice. Not once, but twice. And after I seen that house, ladies and gentlemen, I'm 54 years old, finna be 55. I seen this house back in 2017, 2018. It was before COVID. And I got a new perspective on Joe Jackson. I said, for one, that little old bitty house. Right? That little old bitty house. For number 2, where it's located at, in the hood. Their house sit on the corner. Right behind the back side of their house is an alley. On the other side of the alley is a school. Roosevelt, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Right in the front of this school, because their house is in the back side of the school, is the projects. And you know what that means? That means trouble. For Reby, Latoya, Janet was real small. She was a baby. But just think, now one of them had kids by somebody in that neighborhood. And you mean to tell me Joe Jackson was the villain? Think of it like this, people. Joe Jackson had to go to work. Joe Jackson had to go to work. Joe Jackson had to come home. Just think, he had 2 full-time jobs. He had to come home and keep order. He had to come home and keep order. Come on, people. Let's keep it a buck. He had to come home and keep order, because guess what? If he didn't, it'd been mass chaos. Just think of the groceries, the cooking, the school, got to get up and go to school. You think all 8 of them kids got up and went to school on like clockwork? Hell no. This man had to make sure everybody at school, or Catherine. But they knew if they didn't go to school, Joe was behind their ass. Was Joe a little off? Yeah, he probably was. But come on, man. He had to be. He wanted all his kids to be successful. That's why he told Mike in that movie, hey, now I want you to tour with your brothers. Now and just stay. He wasn't looking at just Mike. Matters his agenda. Matters he felt like, oh yeah, man, we gonna be filthy rich. Matters that. He wanted his kids he wanted the family to be rich. Joe was in on the family. He was all in. He was all in. He was all in. It wasn't no calls from the schoolhouse saying, oh, hey, LaToya looked like she been beat half to death. Reby looked like she been beat half to death. Jermaine looked like he been beat half to death. No, none of the kids. And I say, that's how you kind of can say, damn, was the kids, I mean, they wanted to do what they wanted to do? No. Joe Jackson had to have a firm grip. Now he had to have a firm grip. Just think, I know how it feels coming home from work. And you tired. You want to lay down and go to sleep. This man couldn't do that. He had to sleep with one eye open. Hey, what y'all doing? I can just see him now. One eye open. Hey, what y'all doing in now? Y'all, goddamn it, y'all better get the singing in there. I better hear some singing. Yes, Paul. Yeah, that's what he had to do. Man, we can't find 10 people living in one house, and we can't even get 3. Let alone 10. How you think the sleeping arrangement was? This man had to work hard to put food on the table. Hell yeah, he wanted all of them to be successful. It just so happened one of the babies was the most successfulest. He wanted all of them. I want all y'all to be superstars in some form or fashion. Ain't nobody pregnant at a young age. Now one of the boys had babies at a young age. They wasn't hanging out in the street doing drugs, committing crimes. And now one of them been to prison. The only falsified information you got anything to do with some type of courts is Michael Jackson. And we already know what that was about. Michael Jackson supposed to have been bigger than life. They supposed to have a statue of Mike in every arena. Every place that Michael Jackson performed, he supposed to have a statue somewhere. This man was the real king of pop. And y'all sitting up here disrespecting his daddy? Because without Joe, just think if Catherine had to raise all them kids by herself. Somebody would have been sneaking out. Somebody skipping school. Somebody doing drugs. Oh man, oh no. Not up on the Joe watch. Joe done the right thing, man. Do you gotta be a little crazy to control? Man, look at all these dictators. Look at all the dictators. And look how they controlling their own people. All these third world countries. You think the dictator is living in a third world fashion? Hell no, he live in a big castle. Plenty of women. Expensive cars. It ain't designed like that. But Joe made that happen for the family. And I really hate that they disrespected this man even to this day. This man is in the grave, and they still trying to step on his head. Man, this man done a fantastic job with the Jacksons. They don't make daddies like that no more. We just heard in Louisiana where this man killed all his kids. He had 8 of them. He killed them all. And you telling me Joe Jackson was the villain? People must not be looking at social media these days. Man, there's too many daddies killing kids, babies. Joe Jackson took that and ran with it. This is what it is. He didn't have no kids out of wedlock that I know of, that I heard of. But I'm saying they stayed together, even through the fame, even through the fortune. Man, Joe was the glue. And I'm talking about gorilla glue. He's the epitome of gorilla glue. Y'all sit y'all ass down somewhere. I want y'all to sing together, dance together, eat together. Just think of the bathroom situation. Come on, people. Just think of the bathroom situation. Just think how hard it was to get in the bathroom when you need to use the restroom. Man, that was mayhem, man. That was simply mayhem. I tip my hat to Joe. Ever since I seen that house, and I was able to see it in the daytime, and I seen it at night, I said, oh no. I said, oh no. 10 people stayed in there? Oh no. It's a little outhouse in the back. It's a little shed in the back. It's still 10 people. That man had to buy groceries. That man had to buy clothes. That man had to pay to keep that roof over his head. Nah, man. Joe ain't done nothing wrong. Joe ain't done nothing wrong. Hell, all his kids and traveled the world. Now, let's think about this. All these kids done traveled the world. At some point in their life, they was major celebrities. Even though LaToya did spread for Playboy. Hell, we ain't known Rebe was broke. Nah, people, was Rebe broke? Nah, she wasn't. And of course, Janet had her career. Come on, man. All his kids been in other countries. They lived a lavish life their whole life. They might not be on the top of the top, but they done more than the average individual than them did. I just can't understand how these people could paint a picture of Joe Jackson like he just dogged him out. Yeah, get rid of my manager, my daddy. Yeah, Joe started out being a manager. Man, just think, man. Joe had to, we had work, pay bills, order in the house, and be a manager. Man, Joe was on this shit. Joe was on this shit. Yeah, Joe was on this shit, man. But I just had to get on here, man, about that, man. Like, it just don't happen in 2026. Yeah, it don't happen in 2026. Joe Jackson is a rare. Like, I'd like to meet him. I'd like to meet him. You think if Joe Jackson was living and Joe Jackson had the strength, you think Sony will be be the overseers of the Neverland and 50% of the music? If Joe had the strength, if he was living. Now, Catherine in her 90s. She had a blessed soul. Man, that lady about 96 years old. But this thing, this family is so separated right now. And the villain is Joe Jackson. But Joe Jackson set the foundation. Joe Jackson set the foundation for all his kids to be successful. And here it is, we talking about him being a villain, him being a madman. It's unbelievable. And look at today. Babies out of wedlock, divorce rate, the murders, the gangs, the drugs, the educational. This man defied all them odds with 8 kids. Man, it ought to be a statue of Joe somewhere. They ought to have a statue of Joe Jackson at that school. And as long as that school up, that statue need to be there. This man, I'm going to say it again. This man beat the odds of drugs, unwanted pregnancy, violence, jail, drugs. This man beat all that with 8 kids. See, when it comes to mental health, I believe it's some form of mental health. But why all mental health got to be negative? Why you can't be like a mad scientist? They don't scream mental health when these scientists come up with cures and all this other stuff. You a mathematician. You a mad scientist, a mathematician. But everything got something to do with mental health. It's murder. Oh, you kill somebody, it's mental health. Joe Jackson didn't do none of that. Joe Jackson wanted all his kids to be successful. Matters his agenda. Because hell, if I was a dad and I had 8 kids, hell yeah, I want to live good too. So I want all y'all to be rich, so I can be rich. Hey, is I'm saying something wrong? I want all y'all to be rich, so your daddy could be rich. You ain't doing nothing wrong, man. Say, I roll the dice, and I hit 7 times. That's how Joe Jackson wanted to feel. In his case, 8. No, in his case, 10. No, in his case, 8. He wanted all his kids to succeed. He didn't want Catherine to have to work no more. He didn't want to have to work no more. And he ain't did nothing wrong by doing that. So hell yeah, Mike. I want your motherfucking ass in the movie. Go in his room. I want your motherfucking ass to tour with your brothers. And I mean tour with them. Not this one of y'all take off. He wanted everybody to be together. Man, I just can't understand that. If you don't understand that, then you fucked up. Your way of thinking. Ladies out there, we don't have any lady right now that the normal. If she got 4 or better kids, you can almost guarantee all of them ain't by one man. Not only all of them ain't by one man, the man that stay there probably don't have none of them. And here it is, Joe Jackson did it with all 8. I actually know a woman. I don't want to say her name. She got 7 kids. And she got 5 different baby daddies. And guess what she said? I got a Michael Jordan and an Emmitt Smith in here somewhere. She got different kids by different nationalities. And she thought that was the coolest thing. But guess what? The dude that she messed with at that particular time, now one of them was his. That's a hell of a story in itself. I'm going to say it again. The dude that she's dating, that's living with her at that time, this was a long time ago, and now one of them was his. Now you tell me, what y'all call it, mental health. That guy got to have some mental health. Cause for one, if you ain't rich, there's no way you're gonna be able to take care of 7 kids. Ain't now one of them yours. But we find men in these situations. And ladies, you better think about the situation you in. Joe Leon Jackson. I tip my hat to you, man. May you rest in peace. I just can't understand. The Jackson dilemma goes on even after Mike's death and your death. They still degrading your name, but they ain't looking at the big picture. Without Joe Jackson, there's no Jackson 5. Without Joe Jackson, I don't care how good you sing. Joe Jackson was the claw behind y'all. He was the security behind y'all. That's why he wanted to be your manager. Because he knew, I know them numbers. They can't just tell me, nah, you want a daddy like that. If you want somebody to be your manager and got your best interests at heart, even though he might have his own agenda, I want to make sure first and foremost, my agenda comes second. But first and foremost, I want my kids to be super successful. That's what Joe did. Joe wanted his kids to be super successful. Matters what he wanted on the back end. Hell, he deserved that. That's why he wanted to be the manager. I don't want no punk ass daddy that them white folks can tell him anything. Okay, well, just give me that. No, Joe wasn't like that. No, Joe wasn't like that. That's why. No, that's why. Joe was blocking shit off. Like, nah, I don't want my son to do this. I don't want my kids to now. But the Jacksons, Michael, Tito, Randy, Marlon, now daddy, no, man. Y'all don't understand the dynamic of this shit. They ain't finna get over like that. Nah, they ain't finna get over like that. That's what I like about Joe. Yeah, his fist was too tight on their neck. He almost treated them like they were stepchilds. Treat them like you stole something. But once again, man, it's 2026. Joe Jackson had a house with 10 people in it. And all of them became successful. That's all I got to say for now, man. Hey, I want y'all to have a good rest of y'all night. Enjoy y'all Memorial Day weekend. And just think about what I said. We can't find no families. I just can't think of no families right now. That you got 10 people living in one house. Black people can't have 3. Like I said before, you had the guy in Louisiana, he just killed all his kids. He was so mad at the wife or the girlfriend or his baby mama, he killed all the kids. That's where we at in society right now. Joe Jackson had all his 8 be famous. Y'all chime in if you can. If you can't, just think about what I'm saying about that movie. Part 2 coming. I'd like to see who the villain in this. And them people get away. Them people get away with doing that. But like I said, y'all take it easy. Have a good afternoon, good rest of the night, and God bless you.